You've had some practice at this, so good morning, St Anne's. Good morning. So I'm going to talk about some slightly different details to that reading. I'm preaching on the Gospel of John, John's account. So there's some slightly different details, but we'll get into that. So what an amazing story, what an amazing day. I think this is my third Easter Sunday sermon now in a row, but as I often find with the Bible, my attention is caught by something different every time. This time around, the first thing that struck me was the detail of the linen cloth that John's Gospel says was taken away from the body, folded separately, and left in the tomb. Why was the cloth folded? Seems like a strange detail. Why is it included in the story? So let's go back 2,000-ish years. The act of grave robbing, breaking into tombs to steal items buried with the bodies, sometimes even stealing the bodies themselves, was fairly common practice at the time. In fact, it eventually became so bad that Caesar had to introduce a law proclaiming punishment of death for grave robbers. So you can imagine that any grave robbers would have to work pretty quickly, probably under cover of darkness, to lower the risk of being seen. Can you imagine how dark it must have been in that tomb? They didn't have electricity. Surely any thieves wouldn't have risked lighting a fire or a lantern to see with, so they'd be working completely blind almost. It's pretty hard to do anything in the dark, isn't it? I got up in the middle of the night recently to go to the toilet and I walked full on into the wardrobe. And it hurt. And I knew it was there. So grave robbers walking into a dark tomb wouldn't know where they were going. So let's pretend you want to steal Jesus' body. Firstly, you'd have to roll this massive stone. As in Becky's picture here, you'd have to move that stone away from the entrance. I doubt that could be done quietly. The stone would be heavy. You might need a few people to shift it. Certainly if it was me, I have no upper body strength. Would you risk taking a group of people to that place, especially considering how high profile and controversial Jesus' death was? Probably not. But let's say you did. You move that stone out of the way and you enter the tomb. What next? Remember, there were Roman soldiers guarding the tomb. You wouldn't want to mess with Roman soldiers, would you? I certainly wouldn't. They're terrifying. Wouldn't the smart thing to do then be to grab the body, which you'd need a few of you for, or at least two, grab the body and just leg it out of the tomb just to get away for fear of being arrested? I'm not a grave robber, but I think that's the way I would do it. Picture that. There's a gang of thieves in fear of being caught. They're in that dark cave. The guards could spot them any second. Come on, lads, let's just grab him. Get out of here before somebody sees us. No, hang on. We need to get this cloth off him first. I definitely need to fold this one. Let's just leave that there. Obviously, they wouldn't do that. It would take too long, and linen was expensive stuff. Remember the Roman soldiers at the foot of the cross gambling for Jesus' clothing? It was obviously worth something. No, the face cloth was left behind, folded for a different reason. I think the only thing that really makes sense there is that Jesus folded it himself. Because folding that cloth was deliberate, calm, and gentle. It was the act of someone who had nothing to fear, nothing to hide, and all the time in the world. In a moment of cosmic power, the defeat of death itself, Jesus chooses careful, meaningful actions. And that same attentiveness is what he shows Mary the next morning. Now, before I go on to this bit, my ever-obedient wife here is going to pass around some sheets. I hope I've got enough stickers for everybody. So these are, those name stickers you sometimes get at conferences that say, hello, my name is. These ones are different. They say, Jesus knows my name. We've got some pens there. So anybody who wants to, don't have to. Anybody who wants to, you want to write your name on that sticker, stick it on you somewhere, and be assured that Jesus knows your name. So while you're doing that, I'll continue. So Jesus meets Mary in the garden the next morning. He meets Mary in her grief. Not with a sermon, not with fancy words, but simply with her name. He just says her name, Mary, and the power in that is incredible. Now, Jesus can do the same for you, for all of you. If you can just open your eyes to see him, to recognize him in your life, even if he's just in the corner of your eye, he will call you by name too, because your relationship with Jesus is just that. It's yours and it's personal. The baptisms taking place today of Claire, Melody and Billy, they're such a special and precious thing. This is the point at which you are all personally responding to God's call. When he is calling your names, Claire, Melody and Billy, Jesus knows your name. Now, hopefully enough people have got name stickers on now. Any kids want to come up to the front? I've got a little bit of audience involvement going on. Come on. Well, if no kids, then we'll have some adults. I need some volunteers. Come on. Lionel, you're up. Claire, come on. You're coming up. Good boy. Anybody else? I need more. I need volunteers. Oh, thank you very much. Way. So, is this one on? Wherever you like. Is this thing on? Yes, it is. So what we're going to do here, you've all got your stickers on. I'm going to get you to say your name, and then I'd like all of you lovely people to say, Jesus knows your name. Loudly, proudly. I'm going to start. This is your chance to practice. My name is Joe. Jesus knows your name. Fantastic. Okay, let's start. So your name is?
My name is Rob.
Jesus knows your name.
My name is Carolina.
Jesus knows your name.
My name is Lady Lynn.
Jesus knows your name.
My name is Claire.
Jesus knows your name. Your name is?
Elias.
Jesus knows your name.
My name is Kerry-Ann.
Jesus knows your name. Thank you very much, everybody. A round of applause for our volunteers. So, while the empty tomb is an integral part of the Easter story, a deeper message lies in the details. It's about a God who does things deliberately, who sees you and calls you by your name. It's about a God who sees you in your confusion, your grief, your doubt. Just like Mary, just like every one of you. Jesus didn't fold the cloth in a rush. He didn't appear to Mary in a grand display. He could have done, he deserved to have done. No, he came gently, attentively and personally. And he comes to us like that right now, alive, present, calling us closer. So whether you've known Jesus for years, whether you've just met him, or even if you're still figuring out your relationship with him, remember this: Jesus is not far off. He is risen, and he knows your name. Amen.